Hello, everyone. My name is Mirna, and on behalf of the Mindalia TV team, welcome to Mindalia live streaming, where thousands of people around the world gather to see the lectures and interviews organized by Mindalia TV. Today, with us, Angel Ribo, CEO, consultant, TV host, international public speaker, and president of the Wisdom for Kids Foundation, is going to be interviewing Priya Patel. Priya is a certified meditation and yoga instructor who has she leads eating meditations in Dallas, Texas. Before starting with them, we want to remind you that Mindalia's mission is to share information that can help raise the level of consciousness around the world, and you can help us by subscribing to our channel, leaving us a positive comment down this video, or sharing it with someone that you know that is going to benefit of the content that we're going to be talking here today. Also, while we are live streaming, like right now, we have the active chat, the screen that you're going to be seeing here on my side, or down this video if you're seeing us from a smartphone. And through there, you can interact with us, ask your questions. We just please ask you to follow the format, word, question in caps, and the actual question. Last but not least, Mindalia is broadcasting daily through Mindalia Televisão in Portuguese, Mindalia Televisión in Spanish, and Mindalia TV English, as you know already. We want you to visit our different channels to find out the interesting and beautiful content that we're developing there daily, as beautiful as the one that you see on Mindalia TV. We also want you to collaborate with us with your own valuable content, and for that, you can go to our website. On the top, you're going to find a link. It says Collaborate with Mindalia. That link is going to take you to a form that you can fill out, and our technical team will be getting in contact with you. I'm gonna leave you now with Angel and Priya. Guys, welcome to Mindalia live streaming. The screen is yours.
Thank you, Mirna, for the introduction, and welcome to Mindalia TV, Priya. Oh, we can hear you. Excuse me. Okay, now we can. Excuse me. So welcome to Mindalia TV. Our apologies.
Oh, happy to be here. How are you today?
Very well, very well. Thank you. We're so excited because, oh my God, I mean, at least we are human beings, and I have wanted to have this conversation with you for so long, Priya, because what you bring to this world is just amazing and outstanding. We spend so much time eating, and we eat so many times, and it's part of our part of our routine, of our daily routines of every single human being. But we underestimate what we can do when we are actually eating. And so, the first time I met, so everybody knows, the first time I met Priya, actually, she was kind enough to have to share her wisdom with me and other people, other friends, and to have a fantastic eating meditation that really changed my concept of eating forever. So thank you, Priya. So hey,
you're so welcome, and it was an honor to lead you through this practice of eating meditation. A lot of people have heard of meditation, but a lot of people have not heard of eating meditation combined. And I think you were one of those people who were very intrigued by it. And so it was an honor to lead you through.
Thank you. It was. Thank you. I mean, the honor was obviously mine. But so how did Priya get to that place? What took you from wherever you were in your life into starting this incredible practice?
So I have always been very connected to my knowing and my path, as far as career goes. I had known that I wanted to teach children with special needs. But about 3 years ago, the door on that had kind of closed, in the sense that chapter felt very complete. And during these past 3 years, I spent a lot of time on my own self-help journey. And quite frankly, I had practiced this with somebody that we know, Crystal Ray. She had taught me eating meditation. And the first time I did it, it didn't really stick to me. It was like, wow, that was very interesting. That was very intriguing. I was intrigued by it. And I have a meditation practice of my own that I kind of find myself following daily. And literally, I was in my own meditation, and I'm an idea girl. I constantly have ideas. However, this was different. This was a message of sorts. And I can't explain it in any other way other than this inner knowing that I had with this message that overtook my entire body, with the words coming to me, eating meditation. And I personally have struggled with food myself. And I think it was really a way for me to really get in touch with myself, unravel my own patterns of behavior with food, find stillness and connection with myself and my own body and mind with food. And I started practicing it 2 times a week, 3 times a week on my own. I would literally set out my own dining room table daily. And it was just born out of my own helping myself, as well as this inner knowing that I have that I need to bring this to almost like mass consciousness. This is a practice that has been around for so long. It's a very ancient technique, and all that I'm doing is bringing it to a way that's very accessible, I would say, to the everyday person. And so that's kind of how it was born, as far as me bringing it to other people, my own need to help and desire to help myself.
What was the difference of the Priya having a normal lunch before all this started and Priya having an eating experience following that practice or that technique? What's the difference?
Yeah, so the difference is between me, like I would often eat very unconsciously. And what I mean by that was simply on automatic, right? Going from the next to the next to the next to the next, not really having an understanding of why I was eating, simply other than just to eat. However, now it has become for me a very simple awareness practice of self. And that's the difference, going from being very unconscious to being conscious. And when I say conscious, I mean, I'm simply taking a moment or two to bring my attention, concentration. If we don't want to use the word awareness, we can say concentration to a piece of food in front of me. And that simple act of bringing concentration to it, you automatically begin to have one-pointed focusness. And one-pointed focusness is concentration. Concentration is awareness. There's so many minute little details that are occurring in this practice, which, like I said before, I was very much on automatic. Not only was I on automatic, I was very rigid with food. And it was like I had set up all these stories of I cannot eat this and I'm not allowed to eat this and I can only eat this then, never listening to the signals that my body sends me. And I can say now that I'm really in tune with listening to the signals that my body sends me. I used to ignore the signal of hunger. I used to ignore the signal of thirst. And it may have been ignoring it because I wasn't even aware of it. You know, and the more that you begin to become aware of what even hunger feels like within your own body, you learn not to ignore it. You learn what to eat, when to eat. And more specifically, Angel, it's the how. It's bringing your eyes and your nose and your mouth and your ears and your heart and your mind into your body and being present with the food, which was not there before.
As you know, there are a lot of people with eating disorders today in our world. Yes. So I was really, I'm really intrigued about what you said, that you discovered you would more usually be able or be aware of when you were, you know, feeling like hungry or thirsty. What do you think that? Or do you think that's a normal thing? Do you think that this happens very often with people, that they're not really aware of when they are hungry or not, or when they are thirsty or not? And what do you think?
I do think so. You know, there's many schools of thought on it. My personal opinion is that people eat because it's breakfast time. People eat because it's lunchtime, or people eat because it's dinner time, not necessarily listening to the signals of the body. The other, you know, thing that I've experienced, you know, actually growing up, I'm very blessed in the sense that if I didn't want to eat something, I wasn't forced to eat it. I was able to stop, just the same way a baby would. You know, this innate inner wisdom that children have to stop eating or when they're full. However, what happens is that the mind of caregiver or even ourselves, oh, like I didn't get enough protein or my child didn't get enough calcium. And so we push upon and we push upon and we push upon, teaching the child to start ignoring the signals of hunger. So a lot of what I'm having to do is teach people how to get back to almost that childlike state of inner knowing that we have. As well as myself, I had to teach myself to go back. I had gone on a number of diets in my lifetime. I've tried it all: intermittent fasting, keto, paleo, and I don't even really know why I did them. It was just one, it was like the thing to do, or you have this concept in your head, a story, I should say, of what you think that you're supposed to be, how you're supposed to look, what you would like to look like, without really, honoring, acknowledging yourself and knowing why you're even doing any of it. And so getting back to self-awareness in a different way, and really understanding the why behind the doing. So even when it comes to eating, are you listening to the signals of the body? Are you eating based off of all the different hungers that we can assume in our body, things like eye hunger, cellular hunger, and this is all, knowledge that I've gained from mindful eating books where they talk about the different types of hunger. I think often that food can become a crutch for emotions. And if you think about eating disorder, there's many different ways that it can go. It can be the binge, it can be the restrictive, and it can be the one that, for me personally, and this is very hard to have people wrap their head around, I used to specifically overeat, binge eat, I guess you could say, as a way to sense and feel the emotion of shame and guilt. So it was an emotional, and it made no sense to me at that point. I didn't understand it at that point, nor did I even know that I was doing it. Unconscious, very unconscious habits. And it becomes your habit. Your habit becomes your pattern becomes your thoughts become your actions, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Would there be a way that, because we love to help, Mindalia TV's audience with very specific actions, and so that they start a journey, because we know that eating is like a big source of issues
Yes.
in our lives, and we underestimate what food can do
Yes.
with us and for us. So how can we, is there a particular kind of practice, something that we can do to make sure that we are really hungry as opposed that we just want to eat?
Yeah, there's an amazing book. I think it's just called Mindful Eating. It's literally called Mindful Eating, and you can get it off of Amazon. And they have specific practices even that you could, participate in based off of the different areas that they want you to bring awareness in. As far as knowing the signal of hunger, that's what they call the cellular hunger. Knowing if you are having an emotional hunger is what they call heart hunger. You can simply do that book, or if you're in the Dallas area, you can attend eating meditation here with me. Other than that, I think it's something that you have to bring intentionality to recognize that you might not be very present when you eat, to recognize that you might be having these patterns of behavior that stem from something else. So if you begin to bring intentionality to it, and making small steps, small changes, for example, if you know that if it's an emotional reason that you're choosing to eat, 5 simple tips I can give you right here, right now to help. The first one would be to simply stop and pause. Just pause before you even take a bite. Pause, stop what you're doing, and look, and then the second one would be to use your senses. And by your senses, that's simply your eyes, your nose, your mouth, your ears, and spend about 30 seconds pausing with your senses. and engaging with what's in front of you instead of this automatic movement of just 1, 2, 3, over and over and over again. If you find that you don't even put your fork or your utensil down, simply begin to bring awareness to let me put my utensil down and really taste what I'm with. Everything is an energy. So, if you begin to dive in deeper to what you're actually eating, knowing that that is connected to you in a way that's so profound and so deep, and it's nourishing you to the core, that it at least deserves our attention with our eyes, at least our eyes. And you can take it so much further. Another basic tip I can give is to bring intentionality to simply eating, shutting down the phone. It sounds very generic, like a very basic tip, but because of the world that we're living in, these things and these reminders have to be brought in. That yes, turn off the cell phone, turn off the TV, be with your food, and at the same token, be with your family, right? And sit down and actually have a meaningful meal, conversations around the table, because that also can often enhance the moment or the circumstance or the act of eating. If you're engaging with reality as it is, being with people that you're with, and it may just be yourself. So yeah, like I said, shutting down. And these are very generic, basic tools to get people started. The senses is a huge one. It's a huge piece of our puzzle that we miss. When we're born as children, once again, we learn the world around us through our sensory system, as well as through relationships and experiences that we have. And we're bombarded with, sensory input to learn and to process things. As we get older, a lot of those become automatic because we've already learned them, right? So you don't stop to look and see what's in front of you because you've already seen it perhaps in your life before and you already know what it is. And with this mindful eating practice, we're taking ourselves back. But engaging our senses is really important because, yes, we need to use our senses, but our senses are also what causes that desire for more. And our senses are also the same thing that tell us no. And so with this mindful eating meditation, what we're really doing is bringing ourselves to see reality for what it is. So can you see that this is a fruit? That's reality. Can you see that this color is red? That's reality. And there's no attachment of yourself to it. So it's a token. It becomes a token, a tangible token, to practice the concept of awareness. It becomes a token, a tangible way to practice meditation. It's a tangible way to practice reality, seeing reality for what it is. And I'm really excited to be sharing it in such a unique way here in Dallas.
What is is it the same with food and with drinks? Is it the same kind of experience?
Absolutely, yeah, exactly. It's anything that you're really putting into your body, and honestly, Angel, I think it could be anything. If you're choosing to light a candle, bringing awareness and focus, that I'm telling yourself what you're doing. I'm lighting a candle. If you're taking a drink, same process. Look at it, smell it, put it, and then put it inside of your body. And because even that becomes, the concept of everything is energy. That too is a vibration going inside.
Can you also, because as you know, there's a lot of what is called, junk food or fast food. Can we intentionally eat this kind of food as well?
Yes, absolutely. And I am a testament to that practice. My guilty pleasure in life is chips. And sometimes, I find myself going to that when I am really stressed out. And I believe it's because, the jaw is it's one of the biggest and strongest muscles. And when you're chewing, you're giving yourself this proprioceptive input, which I think can ground you. And so what I do is if I find that like I really would like to eat chips, maybe my body's needing salt, and I don't want to go into the habit of like taking handfuls of them, I'll do what's called a chip party. And this is something that I had learned from one of those practices, the books. Literally a chip party where I'll put several different chips on a plate, and I will go through the mindful eating process of eating them. And I'll find when I'm doing it mindfully, I'm bringing awareness to it. Maybe after one or two, I'm done and I'm satisfied. You can do it with chocolate. You could do it with ice cream. You can do it with pizza. You can do it with anything. It's not, the mindful eating doesn't become about what you eat. It becomes how. And when you become aware of this how, everything that no longer serves you almost begins to just wean itself off automatically. You become more attuned to yourself that, no, that didn't really feel good. And that makes me feel this way. And no, that really did feel good. I really needed some salt at this moment in time. Or yes, I needed some fat and I needed that sugar. You become very aware and kind of wean yourself off of what no longer serves you. I like I said, I've done it with chips, but I've also done it with food. I was never really quite able to figure out. I was always on this diet, on that diet, on this diet, and that diet. I was never really able to figure out why I always had, and this is very personal, this bloating sensation anytime I ate. And I started to slowly and mindfully go through different foods. And when I went and then really understand like what is making me feel this way. And I personally came to find out that meat just didn't suit me. And it wasn't, I wish I could say it was a humanitarian reason. Now it's become one. Right now I don't want to harm. But before, it was literally me learning to listen that like I wasn't processing chicken very well, and I wasn't processing turkey very well. I didn't really eat very much red meat to begin with, but I did eat chicken and turkey, and I literally came to find out that I wasn't processing it. And as soon as I began to, listen to the signals that my body was sending me and really dissect, it was a very easy decision to wean that off and out of my life. Seafood right now seems to be okay, and so I do eat that because that I've learned that is okay for me, and it wasn't because of something somebody told me. It wasn't because of it was me literally examining, becoming an investigator of self to know that yes, this is right for me.
When you were making the story about the chips,
yes,
and you said that mindfully eating and intentionally eating those two chips, after two chips you had enough. Do you think that your body actually awakes you somehow when you start eating intentionally?
I think it's mind. I think the mind and the body are very interconnected, right? Body and mind and body. I think your mind begins to just become very aware of, okay, my desire to eat this food was not coming from me needing this food. It was coming from, at that point in my life, or in that situation, probably a heart, something going on with my heart, something going on with my mind. And I think because the mind and the body are so connected and you are being very conscious and very aware, you allow for even emotions to come into the play and to see them for what they are. So you're not running from your emotions, and you're not hiding from your emotions or even uncomfortableness. You're allowing for them to be there and then making decisions when you feel the uncomfortableness. And I think that's a big thing. A lot of us don't know how to be with uncomfortable, or we always take ourselves to the extreme point of uncomfortable. but we don't know what to do with it when we're in that space. How do you move from it? How do you feel it in its entirety, and then move forward? And it's been a very powerful practice.
What would you say? What would be that piece of advice that you would be able to share with people that have eating disorders today? Something really generic that you think, something specific, something easy that they could start doing today.
I think the very first piece that I said was to bring your senses into play. So if there's something that you're super incredibly averse to, see if you can see it for what it is, whatever it is causing the aversion. See if you can simply be with the food for what it is. And what I mean by that is just start describing it without attaching yourself to it, that I hate this or it makes me feel this way. Just start to see and be with it for what it is. For example, if it's an apple, labeling it for what it is, calling it the name, and then seeing the color, labeling the color, then describing what the inside looks like, noticing the texture, maybe even bringing your awareness to where this came from, that this is from the earth. And at that point, maybe even smelling it, touching it. And if you choose to take a bite, great. If you don't, at least you spent time detaching yourself from that story. And if it's a opposite, where perhaps it's the compulsion to begin to slow down, to begin to take tiny steps to be present, you can go through that same process of being aware and labeling what you are with without attaching yourself to it or your emotion to it. And slowing down. Every bite, put it down. Take a bite, put it down. Take a bite, put it down, and reassess, and reassess. Bringing attention to what you're doing. And if it serves you, then it serves you, but at least be aware of what you're doing.
You've mentioned a couple of times that certain activities that you actually do in the Dallas area.
Yes.
Could you explain a little bit more what those activities are, and how can how can we find you? How can we sign up for them, please?
So the name of the company is called the Intention Table. It's where we are bringing intention to the table where we eat. And what I'm doing here in Dallas is I lead 2 experiences. The first one is called From the Kitchen, and it's an eating meditation with ingredients that later on become part of a meal. So we're almost deconstructing the meal before we eat it, and we spend about 45 minutes. I lead a guided eating meditation, and then after that we explore eating a meal around the table with the actual that have been created from the ingredients that we spend time with. And after that, we sit around the table and we have conversations about life and our experience. The second one is called From the Chef. And this is brand new. It hasn't been done before, as far as I know, anywhere in the world. I think I might be pioneering this, where we're bringing it into restaurants, actually, here in the Dallas area. So the first one, actually, for 2019 is going to be at Asian Mint. It's a local Dallas restaurant. They have several locations. And what we're doing is the same concept. It's a 45-minute guided eating meditation. And then after that, they are creating from their hands of love. The chefs are creating like a 4-course meal that will intentionally eat using some of the tools that we've learned, and then continue with the conversations around the table, and also partnering with several different restaurants. You know, I just partnered with a chef yesterday to do a 10 series where we're going to explore flavors from around the world using guided eating meditation. I think it's a great way for people who've never done meditation before to, one, be with themselves in a different way, to find stillness, learn some breath work, with something that they do on an everyday basis. Maybe some people do it 3 times a day, some people do it 2 times a day, 7 times a day, and it's something that we need to survive. And then the last experience is, I do private events as well as workshops, and I've done lots of speaking. Even though this company has only been around for 4 months, I've actually been very honored to do some speaking engagements. I've actually led a bariatric support group through eating meditation. I have been doing this practice with people who have a challenge with addiction, and are in recovery from addiction, as well as survivors of trafficking, human trafficking. I'm doing this work with them too, because anything to bring us back to our body, our mind and our body at the same place has been very powerful. So the website is intentiontable.com. You can find me on Instagram or Facebook under Intention Table. And I'd love to answer any questions that somebody may have, or even help them begin a practice of their own if they're interested in that.
What would you say from all the different activities that you carry out today? Let's go to the kitchen experience that you mentioned, the one that you have probably done the most.
Yes.
What would you say the people that go there for the first time? What do you see in them? What happens in there?
The people who are trying it for the first time, I don't think they're prepared for how inward it takes them. They're like, oh, this is cool. It's with food. What is this? They're very intrigued, but I don't think they're prepared for how easy it is to find the stillness, and which is a great benefit. But I think the other piece is, I don't think they're prepared to even realize it makes them take a look at their habits and their patterns of eating daily, and I don't think they're prepared for that. Would you agree? You did it for the first time. What would you say was your experience? Never done it before.
For me, well, it was a completely different experience because I had never done it. That's number one.
Yes.
It was completely unexpected. It's true. Maybe I'm a very open guy, so I'm really open to any sort of experience. I loved it because I really wasn't aware of all the richness, all the wealth of smells, of texture, of taste, flavors that we really eat every single day. I mean, you're just not aware. You just go so fast eating that what we typically do is we take our fork or our spoon and we literally put the food inside our mouth, and that's it. But when you start being conscious, and I would like to maybe highlight one part of it, which is the gratitude.
Yes.
I like the gratitude part because there's literally hundreds of people behind every single piece of food that we eat.
Yeah.
Hundreds of people in areas which are deprived of very basic stuff. Right. People that are living in poverty, probably people that are suffering, and it's when we eat that we're actually honoring them. And I liked a lot the gratitude part, because if we really go deep into what we are eating, again, we can see that. We can see the people, and we can honor, and we can send respect and gratitude to people that we never. I mean, the last thing. Let's take an example. I don't know any sort of maybe roasted meat that we can take out of the freezer, right? And we just heat it on the microwave. Right? I mean, there's going to be a lot of vegetables, probably a lot of sauces, besides the meat itself. Mm-hmm. Every single ingredient has involved a ton of people,
right?
So that they have made it possible to be there with you at that point in time. Just being grateful with these people, and with that everything that they did to make sure that to care for that piece of carrots or paprika or whatever that is,
whatever it might be.
Exactly. So I think that's really profound, and I think that was one of these moments that made it very, very enriching for me personally.
Yes. I remember you had sent me a message the next day saying that you felt like you had transformed your relationship to food. And I thought that's so powerful, you know, just from a one-time experience. And was it specifically, I wonder if it was the gratitude, or was it the being intentional?
It's being intentional to really perceive everything that you have in front of you.
Yes.
I mean, the experience is that, I mean, I don't know if you've changed the layout, but you typically have a board, a wooden board.
Yes. Same.
And you have different ingredients, different types of food, and you go one by one and you lead that masterfully. And, you know, we touch it, we smell it. And again, it's rich, but we never so intentional. And it changed my relationship because I'm more aware of everything which is behind it.
Yeah.
And obviously being intentional means that you're putting more energy. And slowing down, actually, as you know, it's just slowing down is a big, massive health benefit. And we're not talking about something which is also very powerful. And obviously you agree, you will probably, you have read a lot, and you might even have a practice on that. I interviewed a few months ago someone that from a Japanese foundation called the Emoto Foundation. And Dr. Emoto is that famous Japanese guy that used to take pictures of the molecular structure of water after he conducted love intention experiments on the water. And he was able to change the entire molecular structure of the water, just the water, with his love intention experiment.
Wow.
Exactly. So, I mean, I was
Powerful.
seeing myself even intentionally sending love,
yes,
that food, to increase its energy, its
inside
effects,
of you.
its effects, its health benefits. You know, again, I think that we are infinitely powerful. So we really can make even an unhealthy French fry with
so much
cheese.
love.
Exactly. We had sent it so much love that I'm personally convinced that we can transform that apparently looks unhealthy into an unhealthy piece of food. So that's my experience. Sorry to be elaborating so much.
No, and I think that's what it goes back to when I say it's not necessarily what, it's how, right? So yes, you hit the nail on the head there. If you're going to do it, be very conscious of it, right? Where did it come from? How did it get to you? And be grateful for it, thank it, and then eat. Then take your bite. So it's bringing intentionality and awareness even to something that somebody would consider not healthy. And over time, the more aware, the more conscious you become, perhaps things that might be automatic behaviors begin to stop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Would you like to add something else before we call it a day?
No, it was so much fun. This is a practice that nobody really knows about. And I really would love for more people to know about it, to practice it. It's been life-changing for me. And I know that it can be life-changing for others as well. And I'm just really honored to have been able to share the practice with you and your audience. And I'm grateful.
Absolutely. The honor has been mine, has been ours, Priya, really. Thank you. Thank you very much for being with us today. I really hope that a lot of people reach out to you and a lot of people start having, intentional eating and start changing and seeing how their lives change. Exactly. Because again, we eat so many times a day.
Yes.
So many times a day. I mean, this is the power of being intentional and doing something that we really need to live. Yes. So again, thank you. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much.
What a blessing. Thank you very much, Priya. All the best for you for 2019, by the way.
Thank you.
We're sure at Mindalia TV that you're going to be extremely successful and you're going to help tons of people, lots of people with.
I receive. Thank you.
Absolutely. You will, absolutely. So thank you very much again.
Bye.
And again, this is Angel Ribo with Mindalia TV. Thank you very much for being with us today. It was a pleasure to have you here. I hope that you enjoyed as much as we did with, having Priya Patel with us and the Intentional Table initiatives. It's amazing what she's doing. So thank you for being with us today. We wish you, the best for 2019. Happy New Year's Eve, and see you soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.